Okay, so we did a portion of the first part of the uh, essay, and we will start from this part, this section, from the first page, first paragraph. Then I went on to say how religious and how good their great grandmother Field was, how beloved and respected by everybody, though she was not though she was not indeed the mistress of this great house, but had only the charge of it, and yet in some respects she might be said to be the mistress of it too, committed to her uh, by the owner, who preferred living in a newer and more fashionable mansion which he had purchased somewhere in the adjoining county. So this is a very long sentence, and I guess I provided a suggestion to you where Lamb's prose style is also included. So this is something typical of pre-modern writers. Some modern writers also write in these very complex sentences, but usually the romantic, Victorian, and other pre-romantic writers used to write. Just give me a minute. There is a call from the college. হ্যাঁ বলো হ্যাঁ 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 Sorry for the interruption. There was a call from the college. So I was saying that if you notice that the whole essay is written in very long, complex sentences. Now, that was the prose style in which pre modern writers used to write. Uh, Modern writers prefer short sentences to these long, winding, complex sentences, but for some reason, the pre modern writers, Victorian, romantic, even before them, they preferred long sentences, and they thought that long sentences were a hallmark of stylishness. Anyway, so uh, we are learning about great grandmother Field, who was very religious, and she was a very good person. She was loved and respected by everyone, but she was not the owner of the great house of which she was in charge of. She was the caretaker of a huge house that was built, that was owned by someone else, who lived in a more fashionable mansion in some adjoining county. County here means a place in a village, an estate, a huge place that earlier people used to buy. Rich people used to buy like these huge farmhouses, and the owner did not live in that great mansion, in that great house, but he used to live in some other fashionable mansion. And some people thought that grandmother Field, great grandmother Field, is indeed the owner of the house. Why? Because but still she lived it in a manner as if it had been her own, and kept up the dignity of the great house in a sort while she lived. So some people often take care of the place that they work at, as if the place is their own home, and everybody understands that this place belongs to a particular person, because the way in which the place is maintained by that one person, who takes care of the house, who takes care of the place they work at, they keep it clean, they carry out all sorts of repairs and all that. So this shows that great grandmother Field was very committed to her job. She was not a um, she was she did not escape her duties. She was a dutiful person, she was a good employee. That is what is being said here. And at the same time, it also emphasizes the fact that great grandmother Field was poor, so poor that even being a woman, she had to take care of a house. Usually were women used to stay at home. They were homemakers. They used to take care of the children during the romantic period. But great grandmother Field had to work. She had to take care of a big house. So that says a lot about the financial condition of Charles Lamb's family, which afterwards came to decay and was nearly pulled down, and all its old ornaments stripped and carried away to the owner's other house, where they were set up and looked as awkward as if someone were to carry away the old tombs they had seen lately at the Abbey, and stick them up in Lady Chatterley's, or Lady C. Catherine's maybe, tawdry gilt drawing room. So again, another replacement, another maladjustment is being pointed out here. That till the death of Field, till the death of great grandmother Field, the house was all right. The house was well maintained and kept clean and all that. But after her death, it fell to decay. The house started to decay. The house was not cleaned, it was not well maintained, and it was nearly pulled down. It was nearly um destroyed in order to maybe make another house. But all the ornaments, all the furniture of the house, all the artistic things that were installed in the house were taken away, were stripped, were taken away from the walls, from the household, and they were carried to the new house of the owner. It looked very awkward, as if uh, um, tombs, somebody is carrying very old things like tombstones or tombs, graves, to some aristocratic lady's house, her drawing room. If somebody places tombs, um, gravestones, tombs, and coffins in somebody's uh, drawing room, then how will it appear? It will appear out of place, it will appear awkward. Now, as I was telling Rupankar last night, that just like the woodwork was replaced by the marble in the old mansion where grandmother Field used to work as a caretaker, uh, this replacement, this taking away of the old and being and attempts are being made to install them in the new place, is something that was happening in that age, and something that happens in every age, in every literary age. I think this is a very nice metaphor where Lamb is trying to say that we often try to adjust the old with the new with very awkward results. The old artistic style and the old furniture, old artifacts, they do not really go with the new, newer styles, newer aspects of the new age. Now, if suppose you were to write in the style of Charles Lamb with long sentences, rich in images and symbols, then the examiner might think that you are trying to show off, you are trying to be very fashionable, and you are trying to make the examiner look small, and he or she might be annoyed at your writing style. So old things being taken away, old things being stripped away from one place, and then they are carried to another place where they look miss where they do not appear to be where they do not belong. For example, there are various buildings in Kolkata which are very old, and then there are buildings in Kolkata which are very new. But I mean, in fact, there are whole areas in Kolkata which have come up recently, like Salt Lake and Newtown. So if someone were to uh, take a old building from North Kolkata and put it in Salt Lake, or put it amongst the high rises in Newtown, it will appear out of place. That is what happened with the articles and furnitures that were there in uh, the old house, and they were, after the death of grandmother Field, they were taken away and put in the new house of the owner, and they looked very awkward, they looked very out of place. Here John, now John is the name of another dream children. One of the dream children was Alice, and another dream children of Lamb is John. So John and Lamb, and John actually is the name of Lamb's brother. So Lamb is not using any other names, but rather he is using the names of people whom he knew, whom he misses, who are not there with Lamb anymore. Okay. So here John smiled as much as to say that would be foolish indeed. So, like Alice, who had an upbraiding look, who had a scolding look when Lamb mentioned that the old woodwork was replaced by the new marble by the new owner of the house of great grandmother Field. John also smiled as if to say that it would be very foolish indeed. We can already observe that neither of the children are really talking. Do you think this is okay? There is, or do you think there is some kind of a problem here, or there is something missing when the children are not talking? Why do you think the children are not talking? Because in both the cases the story has advanced a little. Lamb has been talking for some time now, but none of the children have spoken. Do you think that is absolutely normal for children to not to speak for so long? No, it is not normal. Then do you think something is missing here? Why aren't the children talking? What about others? Shubham? both Alice and John Alice made Lamb understand what she was feeling by the way she looked, and John smiled. John just smiled. He did not speak. So what is going on here? Why aren't they? Why aren't the children speaking? Because he's using the name of those whom he have lost, so he's comparing them with us children. But in this case, they are children. I mean, they are, the names have been used, yes, but they are children, and children usually love to talk also. Yes, they listen to the stories, but sometimes they talk too. So why aren't they talking? Sleeping. They are listening to the story told by Lamb. What about others? Any other uh, point of view? Anonna, you, you have something to say about this? Or Meeta? Or Shomi, Shubham? No. Why not? Meeta, anything? Would you like to add anything? By the way, the text is in the group. Uh, Rupankar has shared the images in the group. Well, because it's a dream, and in dream, I mean, some people say, some interpreters of dream, some people who research with dream and all that, they say that usually people are not found talking in dream. We can see a dream, we can hardly hear a dream, but that's debatable. I mean, some people might hear themselves or other people talking in the dream, and it's very difficult to prove that whether you have heard something in the dream or you have seen something in the dream. But some research say that it's usually what we there is some part of the brain which is super activated when we dream, but that part is also the part which it remains activated when we see something or imagine something. So this is a dream, and that bears uh, a relevance that is valuable for our title, because they are dream children, they are not real children, and that is why they are not speaking. It's only Lamb who is narrating. They are mostly silent. Anyway, so I mean, which line? From where? You may unmute yourself, show me, and interact.
Sir, here John smiled as much as to say, "What would be foolish indeed."
Hmm. So which line do you want me to repeat?
This line only, sir.
I mean, the meaning of this line?
Yes, sir. The meaning of this line.
Well, it simply means that John smiled after hearing what Lamb had to say about taking the old things, old articles from one house and depositing them into the new house. That is something that made John smile, and he smiled to mean that this will be foolish indeed to take old things away from a particular place and then try to install them at a place where it will look out of place, it will look awkward. Say you have your grandmother's jewelry. I don't know if you have them. Say suppose you have your grandmother's jewelry or you have your grandmother's sari. Uh, they will appear to be out of fashion, isn't it? And you will not wear them at a place where which is updated or which is very fashionable, because people will think that you are keeping you are not keeping up with the time, and people will think that you know new old things remain relevant, old things remain good only in the older settings. In new settings old things cannot be um, put and cannot be used. Say for example, does any one of you have one of those old TV sets, like big ones, like with vacuum tubes and not vacuum tubes, uh, circuits and all that, not the flat ones but the big ones? If you have them or have seen them, do you think you can put a USB USB inside them? No, because they don't have those ports. Okay, so trying to do that, even if you try to do that, it will not work. USB does not work with old TV sets from the 2000s or even earlier. So that is what John wanted to say. So did you get your answer, show me?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So, and then I told how when she came to die, her funeral was attended by a concourse of all the poor and some of the gentry too, of the neighborhood for many miles around, to show their respect for her memory, because she had been such a good and religious woman, so good indeed that she knew all the psaltery by heart. Psaltery means the Bibles, the hymn of the Bible. Okay, psaltery by heart, I, and a great part of the Testament besides. So, Testament is a part of Bible, or Bible itself is called Testament. There is Old Testament and New Testament, New Version, Old Version. But these are all religious. These are texts associated with religion. So when grandmother Field died, her funeral was attended by almost all the people of the neighborhood, almost all the people of the village attended um, grandmother Field's uh, funeral. Even the gentry means the aristocrat, the aristocratic people also came to show her respect, to show their respects to her. And she was understood to be a very good and religious woman. So, if a question comes for 5 marks to comment upon the role and character of great grandmother Field, then this whole section you have to talk about these things. The whole section will be useful here, that she was considered, or she was very good and religious, because she remembered the entire all the hymns of the Bible. She knew a great part of the Testament also. Like our some of our ancestors, some of our grandfathers and mothers, they memorized Ramayana or Mahabharata by heart. Some of them did, and it was considered to be a great achievement. It was considered to be something very important by us. We don't even remember very common things, but once upon a time, it was considered to be a merit, a point of merit, to remember the religious books, to memorize the religious books. Her little here, little Alice spread her hands. Then I told what a tall, upright, graceful person their great grandmother Field once was. So little Alice spread her hands. She made a gesture as if to show her love towards grandmother Field. And Lamb told that grandmother Field was tall, upright, very morally correct, um, graceful person. Um, she had a grace. She was very. She had a lot of grace in her walk, in her gait. Gait means how she used to walk or carry herself, and how, in her youth, she was esteemed the best dancer. So, even in her youth, grandmother Field was considered to be the best dancer in the village. Here Alice's little right foot played an involuntary movement, till upon my looking grave it desisted. So Alice wanted to dance. It seems that Alice had inherited the gene of dancing from great grandmother Field. That when Lamb told that grandmother Field was a great dancer, Alice started to dance as well. Or Alice uh, put her right foot forward and moved it as if she were dancing. So, we as parents, I mean, I am a parent, and other parents also, they are often happy to find that some good trait of their ancestors is found in their children. Some are tall, some are fair, some are good in dancing, some are good in singing, some are good in studies. So parents find this similarity between their parents and their children to be a kind of a satisfactory uh, relay, a satisfactory relay of some kind of genetic information. অনেক সময় আমাদের পেরেন্টসরা এটা মনে করে যে যদি আমাদের গ্র্যান্ড পেরেন্টসদের সাথে আমাদের বাচ্চাদের, আমাদের অফস্প্রিংসদের একটা মিল থাকে, দেন উই সে দ্যাট এর মতন হয়েছে, অ্যান্ড উই টেক সাম কাইন্ড অফ স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন অর প্রাইড ইন দ্যাট পার্টিকুলার স্টেটমেন্ট। দেখবে অনেক সময় এরকম ধরনের কথাবার্তা হয় যেখানে বলা হয় যে এর মতন হয়েছে, ওর মতন হয়েছে, অ্যান্ড it's only the good things that we talk about. We do not talk about anything that is not really considered to be good. মানে কারোর গ্র্যান্ডফাদার যদি ড্রাঙ্কার্ড হয়, আর তাহলে আমরা এটা বলবো না যে আমার সন্তানও বা আমার মেয়ে বা আমার ছেলেও মদ খেতে শিখেছে। We will not do that, but we are only concerned about the good things, and we try to find the similarity between our ancestors and our descendants to show a kind of a smooth flow of genetic um, stream. So it happens here also. কিন্তু যখন ও নাচলো, নাচার মতন করলো, চার্লস ল্যাম্ব অ্যাপিয়ার্ড টু বি ভেরি গ্রেভ, একটু সিরিয়াস হয়ে গেল। তো সেটা দেখে অ্যালিস আর নাচ করলো না। And then he continued, I was saying in the county till a cruel disease called a cancer came and bowed her down with pain. তারপরে গ্র্যান্ডমাদার ফিল্ড একজন গ্রেসফুল ডান্সার ছিল, খুব সুন্দর ডান্স করতো, কিন্তু তারপরে তার ক্যান্সার হয়ে গেল। তার মানে ইভেন ইন দ্য 19th century the disease of cancer could be found, and it did kill a number of people. Though it did not kill grandmother Field, it paralyzed her, or it bent her down with পেন, মানে খুব কুঁজো হয়ে গেল আর কি। মানে তার এমনই শরীর খারাপ হলো, ক্যান্সারের জন্য তার এমনই অবস্থা হলো যে তাকে কুঁজো হয়ে যেতে হলো। শি বেন্ট ডাউন। সে অবভিয়াসলি আর নাচ করতে পারলো না। সে যে এত বিউটিফুল, গ্রেসফুল, টল পারসন ছিল, তাকে ক্যান্সারের জন্য তার ভীষণ শরীরটা খারাপ হয়ে গেল। But it could never bend her good spirits or make them stoop, but they were still upright because she was so good and religious. Cancer or other diseases can break her body or broke her body, destroyed her body, but they could not destroy her spirit. Because she was a good and religious person, she had faith in God, and by having faith in God, she accepted her fate as a deformed person, as a paralyzed person, but her spirits, her goodness were not affected by the disease. Then I told how she was. Then I told how she was used to sleep by herself in a lone chamber of the great lone house, and how she believed that an apparition of two infants was to be seen at midnight gliding up and down the great staircase near where she slept. But she said that those innocents would do her no harm, and how frightened I used to be, though in those days I had my maid to sleep with me because I was never half so good or religious as she, and yet I never saw the infants. আর একটা ঘটনা বলছে, ওই গ্রেট হাউসের যেখানে গ্র্যান্ডমাদার ফিল্ড থাকতেন, ওখানে একাই ঘুমোতেন, অনেক বড় বাড়ি ছিল, গ্রেট লোন হাউস। এবং উনি এটা বিশ্বাস করতেন, শি বিলিভড, উনি দেখেও ছিলেন হয়তো নিজের চোখে, যে দুটো অ্যাপারিশন মিন্স ঘোস্ট, দুটো ভূত, বাট বাচ্চা ভূত স্টেয়ার কেসটায় একবার ওঠে একবার নামে, এরকম তিনি নিজের চোখে নাকি দেখেছেন, বা তিনি গল্প করেছেন ওনাদের পরের যে জেনারেশনসগুলো ছিল তাদেরকে গল্প করেছে, যেমন দিদারা গল্প করে আর কি, যে ভূত দেখেছে ইত্যাদি। তো সেখানে উনিও গল্প করেছেন এরকম, যে দুটো বাচ্চার আত্মা তিনি ঘরের মধ্যে ঘুরতে দেখেছেন মিডনাইটের পরে, মধ্যরাতের পরে দেখা গেছে যে দুজন বাচ্চার আত্মা ঘরের মধ্যে ঘুরে বেড়ায়। কিন্তু গ্র্যান্ডমাদার ফিল্ড ওয়াজ নট অ্যাফ্রেড বিকজ শি ওয়াজ রিলিজিয়াস, বিকজ শি ওয়াজ গুড, শি ওয়াজ অফ গুড হার্ট, অ্যান্ড ল্যাম্ব ওয়াজ ভেরি অ্যাফ্রেড। ল্যাম্বকে যখন এই গল্পটা বলা হয়েছে তখন ও খুব ভয় পেয়ে গেছে, যদিও ল্যাম্ব নিজের মেড, মানে নিজের আয়ার সাথে ঘুমোতো। আগেকার সময় অনেক বাচ্চা কাচ্চা হতো বলে প্রত্যেকটা বাড়িতেই একটা দুটো করে গভর্নেস বা মেড, আয়া এরকম থাকতো, হু টুক কেয়ার অফ দ্য চিলড্রেন। তো ল্যাম্ব একা ঘুমোতো না, ল্যাম্ব ওই মেডের সাথে, ওই গভর্নেসের সাথে ঘুমোতো, কিন্তু তাও ও ভয় পেত। কিন্তু গ্র্যান্ডমাদার ফিল্ড ভয় পেত না, কারণ আনলাইক ল্যাম্ব, হু হি কনফেসেস দ্যাট হি ওয়াজ নট ভেরি গুড অর রিলিজিয়াস, ওর বাইবেল বা ধর্মগ্রন্থগুলো ওরকমভাবে মনে ছিল না, তাই জন্য ও যদি ভূত দেখতো তাহলে ও মন্ত্র পড়তে পারতো না। আর আমরা অনেক সময় এরকম বিশ্বাস করি যে আমরা যদি হনুমান চালিসা পড়ি বা আমরা যদি কোনো ভগবানের নাম করি, তাহলে ভূত আমাদের ছেড়ে দেবে বা ভূত আমাদের আশেপাশে আসবে না। But that was not the case with Lamb. Lamb did not know the hymns of Bible. He did not read Bible, and but grandmother Field was never afraid of the ghosts of the children, because she believed that these children are innocent even if they become ghosts. I was telling in one of the classes that romantic literature glorified চিলড্রেন। রোম্যান্টিক লিটারেচারে চিলড্রেনদেরকে অনেক ভালো লাইটে দেখানো হয়, মানে দেখানো হয় যে তারা খুব ইনোসেন্ট। ইনোসেন্স ইজ গ্লোরিফাইড ইফ নট children. Innocence itself is glorified. But yes, Rupankar says that children are evil. I mean, I did not say so. It was Freud who said that actually children are evil. But why did I say that children, or why did Freud say that children were evil? Sorry, Rupankar. That's okay. You don't need to say sorry. Yes, they do not have any morality. They do not know any sense of right or wrong. I mean, they are not they are not even evil in that sense. They just do whatever they want to do. They have no id, because children are id ridden. Their mind is, they have no ego, they have no superego. Their only uh, the way in which they behave is that they will do whatever comes to their mind. If they are feeling hungry, they will ask for food, or they will try to eat. That's why sometimes they will chew your homework or your books, or if they are sleepy, they will just fall asleep anywhere. If they are thirsty, they will try to drink water even from the cat's bowl, or they will do all these kinds of things, because they do not have any sense of rightness or wrongness. Unlike us, they do things because they are innocent of everything. But that is not really innocence. That is like, they are like a machine. I mean, we will not call a machine evil or good. In the same sense, children cannot be called evil or innocent, because these categories will not apply over them. But the kind of activities that they do, some people think that, they are very cruel, they are very immoral. They will break the wings of a butterfly, they will harass the cat, um, they will destroy your books, which makes some people think that this is an evil act. And sometimes children know that doing these things will make some kind of a chaos in the household, or they will be scolded, or they will get the attention of the parents. So sometimes children do these things to get the attention of the parents. Anyway, so Lamb said ultimately that he never saw the infants, he never witnessed the infants. And look at the parallelism here. Now, parallelism is a literary device which, through your exposure to English literature, you will be learning about a number of literary devices, including figures of speech. Parallelism is also a literary device. Now, what is parallelism? Within the same essay, story, drama, novel, whatever, when two similar things are put into the story or the essay, in order to reinforce, in order to make something more visible, to emphasize, রিপিট করার মতন, মানে আমরা কখন রিপিট করি, যখন আমরা কোনো একটা জিনিসের ওপর বেশি জোর দিচ্ছি। তো প্যারালেলিজমের ডিভাইসটাও সেরকমই, যেখানে একটা জিনিস অলরেডি বলা হয়েছে, কিন্তু সেটার উপরে আরও জোর দেওয়ার জন্য, সেটাকে আরও এমফাসাইজ করার জন্য অনেক সময় আমরা কম্পেয়ার করি দুটো জিনিস, একই টেক্সটের মধ্যে দুটো আলাদা আলাদা একই ধরনের জিনিসকে মেনশন করি। তো এইখানে দুটো বাচ্চা আছে যারা ড্রিম চিলড্রেন, মানে ল্যাম্বের দুটো বাচ্চা যারা ড্রিম চিলড্রেন, অ্যালিস অ্যান্ড জন। আবার গ্র্যান্ডমাদার ফিল্ড দুটো বাচ্চার আত্মা দেখতে পেত, তো সেটাও কিন্তু দুটো বাচ্চা। তো এই দুটো বাচ্চা, this is an example of a parallelism. This is an example of a parallelism. You will take some time to recognize these literary devices being used in the texts, but you will have to get used to it. You will be able to critically analyze. You will be able to understand the texts better when you have familiarity with these kinds of literary devices. Okay, এমনই পড়াতে পড়াতে যখন আমার মনে পড়বে কোনো একটা লিটারারি ডিভাইসের ব্যাপারে যেটা ব্যবহার হচ্ছে, তখন আমি তোমাদের এইভাবেই কিছু বলে দিতে থাকবো আর কি। ওকে, let us stop here today, but if you have any questions you may ask me from this text or from anywhere else if you want to. Okay, if you do not have any questions you may leave the meeting.